Here's my take. Tfue's lawyer is going to take the stance that, just wait, I'm just going to Oracle of Esports this, okay? Tfue's lawyer is going to take the stance that this is better for the entire industry as a whole, and he's gonna say that he's trying to establish a precedent for Tfue and players everywhere. And the route he's gonna go is he's gonna take it that players are being traded unfairly, and that this case is about that. We'll see if I'm right. Every contract by which anyone is restrained from engaging in a lawful profession, trade, or business of any kind is to that extent void. That's a huge deal because that could apply to every single esports contract. We talked about that, but I never read the specific statute on that. That pretty clearly says that anything that could be considered like streaming income or any other thing and restricting that, which all esports contracts and influencer contracts do, falls under that. It's really broad, but that's super interesting. Huh, I've never actually seen how that's worded. Every contract by which anyone is restrained from engaging in lawful profession, trade, or business of any kind is to that extent void. That's every esports contract and every streamer contract. If that gets in, so that's why I said that's really interesting. I said this in previous videos, right? But that's really what I meant was that is why this is important. That's why we cover the Tfue situation so hard, is because if that actually gets ruled to apply to esports contracts and the FaZe contract becomes void, then every other esports contract becomes void by that definition, which is kind of crazy.
FaZe Clan was presented with a contract Turner would accept. It was, as close to a legal contract as you can get, but apparently that wasn't good enough for them, and they decided to mark up about half of it, get rid of about half of it, and put in their own provisions, which again made it illegal once again.
FaZe has run their entire PR platform on the fact that they continuously offered contracts to Tfue, and Tfue didn't accept them. And the wide public thought that Tfue was refusing contract because he just wanted to get out of his contract. Oh man, that changes everything. That's huge. So the fact that they sent them they sent a contract into FaZe and then FaZe refused it actually puts even more of the onus on FaZe. That's crazy.
To think that they are saying that they took $60,000 from him and that's it, when they've made millions of dollars through sponsorships with Nissan and other companies by virtue of the fact of having popular gamers, the most popular of which was Turner.
Totally agree.
So to say that they've only made $60,000 off Turner is a complete fiction and doesn't take in the reality of how much they've made on their videos, how much they've made on their YouTube channels, how much they've made through sponsorships, brand deals, and otherwise by utilizing Turner's name and likeness and by having Turner as part of the team. I know that a judge and the labor commissioner will find in our favor, and I know that we will win, but it shouldn't even come to that because FaZe as an organization should be about the people, and it should be about protecting people, and it should be about doing things legally and properly, and that would help everyone.
Overall, some of the important things that we might not have caught in that. The most important thing was that FaZe got sent a contract. So the argument that so FaZe once again gets shown to be disingenuous, right? Because they said, we approached Tfue over and over again. He always ignored us. He never responded. But it looks like a lawyer actually drafted a contract, sent it to FaZe for review. They marked down half of it, sent it back, and then it was illegal again. So it's actually like Tfue's team actually did try to keep this relationship going. And that's like a big change in this case. I think that's really interesting. But it just kind of further reinforces the initial position that FaZe is disingenuous, right? Like big surprise, and that their officers are operating disingenuously. I think what he said about taking the money, the 60,000 number, like the classic problem with this case has always been that FaZe and Tfue are arguing two separate things, right? Whereas like FaZe is saying, well, we only took $60,000, like whatever. Like the lawyer is saying, well, it isn't about that. You're locking him into a contract where you can use his likeness. You've made tons of money off of him, and you're locking him into an unfair deal. And like the platform that Tfue is running on is inherently this deal is unfair, which even FaZe Banks himself actually admitted in a tweet. He said the original contract was bad, I think was his exact wording. So FaZe actually said that. And like throughout this entire time, I just want to remind people that FaZe at any time could have taken the option of saying, hey, this is getting hot. Tfue obviously wants to get out of his contract. We're going to let him out of his contract. The contract was unfair. He's free to go, and we wish him the very best. That could have been, you could do it anytime. You could do it tomorrow, do it next hour, could do it 2 weeks ago, whenever, right? You could have taken that ownership and that accountability. What the lawyer wants to do is he wants to paint the correct picture that this is unfair and that these contracts are unfair. And the key that the lawyer mentioned is the judge and the labor commission, right? So the judge, I agree with everybody that says that this contract, I would be amazed if this goes to court. I mean, if it goes to court, Tfue will win, but I don't think it will go to court. I think it'll be settled out of court. I agree with everybody that is saying that. The thing that I think is the bigger issue, and the one that I've tried to harp on before, is this labor commission deal, right? Where the labor commissioner will actually determine this as unlawful and issue penalties and relevant fines and relevant problems to FaZe as a result of issuing contracts of this nature. And that will also probably key them into the High Sky issue, the whole hostile takeover issue, and everything else that's going on with FaZe right now. So what we're doing is we're seeing this come to fruition, basically everything come to fruition. The labor commissioner will review it. He will find all those violations, and then it will be very difficult for FaZe to work through these things. As for the actual lawsuit, it was never really about the lawsuit that put FaZe in trouble. It'll probably be settled out of court, cost FaZe some money. Tfue will get out of his contract, like the lawyer said, one way or the other, and that'll be the end of it. The way bigger problem are the violations that FaZe has done towards the California state and the implications of that. If they'll be able to do business in California again, which is likely they will not be able to, how many fines they're going to have to pay, if they're going to get dissolved as a company, which is possible given the gross violations of fines that we've seen so far. And the labor commissioner is going to look into all that, and that is the real problem here. I still think in the long term, it's going to take a long time for the stuff to just sort of suss out, right? Because law just works slowly. It just works very slowly. But this will come to pass. Like the labor commission will do their investigation. Everything will come to pass. And then in time, might be 6 months, might be a year, like FaZe will take the hit for this. But for now, I'm still firmly on Tfue's side of the equation. And I still think that FaZe has operated disingenuously on a lot of levels and that they've represented themselves very unprofessionally. Still my position, so...